Open. So, welcome everybody to November Finance and Corporate, and I'll kick straight off with apologies. And I'll have one from Bronwyn, none from anyone else, but I'm sure Hazel and it's just about all I think that's left now will turn up very shortly. So could I have a mover, please, for that apology? Thanks, Claire. Thanks, Lou. All in favour, please say aye.
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 Contrary, no. Carried. Disclosure of members' interests. There being none, we will move on to late items. And there being none, we'll move on to confirmation of order of the meeting. So could I have a mover, please? Marcus, thank you. Thank you, Graham. All in favour?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary, no. Carried. Confirmation of minutes. So moving to page 7 of our agenda, and 8, 9, 10. Nothing really on 11. Thanks, Roger. And a seconder, please. Thanks, Bruce. All in favour?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary, no. Carried. Okay. Quarterly property services report. I see Bruce hiding there somewhere. There, Bruce. Welcome.
Thank you.
The floor is yours.
Great. Kia ora, good afternoon. So this is the quarterly property services report to 30 September 2021. I'll take the report as read, but I did want to highlight just a couple of points. At the August meeting, there was a query about progress on the Kihikihi town clock, so I thought I'd just give a brief update on that. The safe access and structural works to the tower have been completed, and we've engaged a contractor to refurbish the clock dials and the clock face. They're also going to automate the clock as well. And this work's going to be undertaken in early 2022. So that's all in the planning and will be implemented sort of January to March 2022.
Bruce, excuse me, just while that's topical, what's the progress like on the Cambridge clock, please?
The Cambridge clock, so that was my second point I was going to talk to. So I've had a couple of a couple of queries and inquiries around the Cambridge town clock tower and the condition of it. So just as an FYI and an update, so it was cleaned 12 months ago and it's scheduled for another clean that's going to happen this Friday. Also within the LTP, year 2 of the LTP, we have a project for to do a renewal. So we're doing a little bit of scoping work this year. We've engaged a heritage architect to work with us on that. So basically the current plan is for renewal works to be undertaken in the summer of 22-23. And we'll look at the sort of surface there, the clock face. It's got a plaster surface to it, so it's a little bit difficult to do, but we're going to look at the actual clock itself, the clock face and the clock dials as well, which needs a little bit of work. So as I say, that's a year 2 LTP project, a little bit of planning this year, and with the balance of the work happening summer of next year.
Thanks, Bruce.
As you and I talked about this the other day, Bruce, I think it might be a good idea to have some good press going out about that, because there is a fair bit of community concern on that one.
Yep. Okay. Yes. Yep. That's a good point. And we'll talk to our comms team around about that one, but we could probably get a release out, just letting them know that what's actually in the planning pipeline for that.
And I'm guessing, Bruce, that you'll be letting the Kihikihi people know that our clock is finally going to be fixed.
Yes, we will do. We've actually been talking to the chair of their committee there, because there was a little bit of we were trying to figure out how it used to chime and whether it used to chime and what we need to do in relation to that. So we have been engaging with them on that, and they do know that that is in progress.
Thanks, Bruce. Thank you very much.
Great.
Sorry, Bruce. I had a query about it, that it's not working at the moment, is it? Because one guy rang me and said it's 6 o'clock one day, one side, and 6:30, and he was the time he rang me. It was pretty well right, but it doesn't work though.
No, the Kihikihi clock is not working at all. So
it's right twice a day, though.
Yes, it is. Yeah, twice a day. It's right. Yeah, it's the same with the Cambridge one at the moment. And so in terms of the Cambridge clock also, that's going to be restarted next week. So we've got a contractor coming up to give it a good service because it hasn't run for quite some time, and we're restarting it. So that's happening on Monday.
Good.
And that was it for me. So if there are any questions.
Clear, then Susan.
Okay, thanks a lot, Bruce. I was interested in the work being done with the Pirongia community facilities. So the community hall and church and the War Memorial Hall, like you're getting some options and scope of works done. Like when's that likely to be completed and so available for us to have a look at and consult with the community?
Probably in the new year. So the contractor's been out there. It got a little bit delayed with getting people on site with the shutdown. So the contractor's been out there and we're just waiting on the report. So we expect the report before Christmas. We'll need to have a little bit of time to consider that. But hopefully in the new year, we'll be able to come back out to you with that.
Excellent. Great. Thanks a lot.
Susan, then Philip.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew, through you. Hi, Bruce. Hey, thanks for your report. I was reading this and I thought to myself, there's something really familiar with that paragraph under the heading Te Mutu Te Pirongia Cycleway. and I had cause to go back through my agendas, going back 5 years. And whilst there has been some progress, it would be fair to say it is modest in the extreme. And I, for some time, have hoped that there would have been more progress evidenced. But I guess I'd like to see a different report sometime soon, because I have to say they actually are almost cut and paste. There are about 3 or 4 different things that are mentioned over the past 5 years, and it morphs into, but pretty much the same report is repeated for about a whole year.
Right.
So I'm a patient person generally, but and certainly the group that are pushing for that are extraordinarily patient. But I suggest that their patience is probably wearing very thin. So I wonder if it could be, if you could take it for your next mission to produce us with a slightly more progress-filled report, and perhaps to tell for us what the real obstacles are, because it's just getting a bit ridiculous.
I can answer for that. It's not Bruce's fault, it's probably my fault. So I'm looking after that project rather than Bruce. So I can give you a quick update as to where we're at. We have progressed to quite a bit in the last month or two. So I've got a meeting with one of the landowners. We've got NZTA or them on board now with regards to access to State Highway 3. So that can progress. And the 3 properties between Naroto Road and Lake Road, we've now got the same lawyer acting for all 3 parties. So they are progressing. I hope to have an agreement signed by the end of the week, and then we can proceed with a subdivision plan on 2 of those properties. There's a subdivision application in on the 3rd one. The cycleway is shown on that subdivision plan. There's a Section 92 report. So we're seeking further information from the surveyor on that one. And I've spoken to the other landowner where we go down Lake Road, then we come back down through the property to get to the lake. Gally Miles is acting for them on that property as well. So I'm just waiting for Sue to come back with me with some minor amendments. There's quite a bit of work on that property, not just the cycleway, it's also access to get to the weir and access to the drainage area there. So the minor amendments just to say that it's only for council and council staff and council contractors access. It's not a public access way. So I'm hopeful that in the next couple of weeks, certainly before Christmas, we'll be a lot further ahead, and it's then just a matter of getting those subdivision applications. They want to be able to be assured that they can use their EBLs on site. that's why we're working with two of them so that we work to get the EBLs in the correct place, and one doesn't hinder the other. So yeah, it's moved a fair bit in the last couple of weeks. And then, yeah, and having State Highway 3 able to get access there, that resolves the issue between Te Awamutu and Narodo Road. All the agreements are signed up apart from one, and this will allow us to hopefully get that one across the line.
Thanks for that, John.
That's awesome.
Yeah, as Susan probably knows, it's a project dear to my heart as well, and I'm just really, really pleased you're able to give us some real progress on that.
Oh yeah, I agree. It's been frustrating. I've been here since day one when this sort of started, and yeah, there hasn't been much progress on that section. But I think we will be in a much better position by the end of the year, and hopefully we're in line to still be in a construction period.
Great.
To get some actual physical works done on the ground.
Yeah, I know the cycling group would be absolutely delighted to hear that. No, that's awesome. Philip.
Yep, thank you, Chairman. Thanks, Bruce, for your report. Hey, you've got in here the Victoria Room in the Town Hall and doing some decorative work. That's obviously been something that's well overdue. Obviously, one day there's going to be a big revamp of the Town Hall, but the Victoria Room, as we all know, or you know, is with the wallpaper peeling off, is a real disgrace. So I see you've got the work in preparation. You'll be working with the community trust or the new trust that's formed there.
That's correct.
We got any idea time-wise? I mean, we allocated $120,000 for the trust for loads of other things, but part of that was to do a little bit of decorative work in the Victoria Room.
We've agreed that we're going to work together on it, but we haven't got any further than that. But so it'll be something that we'll take a look at from basically the beginning of next year with them.
Yeah, because I mean, thank you. Every time we have an event in there, this year we're unfortunately not having the Christmas festival, and they use that room. And it really does, it is really a disgrace. But if we could target or aim to have that done by Anzac weekend, because again, we have visitors from dignitaries and visitors from outside to our town, and we use that room as the main room prior to the service and everything. If we could aim to have that done by then, that'll be fantastic, because again, you know, we've got visitors and it really is a disgrace. So but yeah, thank you.
That should be possible.
Thanks, Philip. I think we've got Marcus, then I think Graham, and then Hazel.
I'm just wondering with the the new grandstand that we've done up and it's already for people to use. I noticed that you're putting lights in there. Is there going to be like PowerPoints that people can use to do modern stuff rather than grass bands, so people actually use the facility in the future?
Do you mean the band rotunda? Yep. Yes. So my understanding, yes. So there is going to be power installed in there. So lights and power is going in.
Great. Yeah. Awesome. Graham.
Yeah. Thanks, Andrew. Bruce, Cambridge Water Tower. We're expecting a response from Heritage New Zealand late October / early November. Where's that at, Bruce?
Okay, we've got a response from them. There's been a little bit of an argy-bargy with them around that, because what we would like to do is take the corroded steel work off and take the tank off. They then came back and said they wanted us to put a replica tank on top, which we pushed, I know. So we pushed back a little bit on that, and we've kind of come to and the letter was only received late last week. And basically what they're asking for now is a frame to be put on the top. So basically to show the outline of what used to be there, which is a lot better than putting a replica tank on. So we think that's kind of, we need to look at the detail. We need to have a chat with the engineer, but it seems a lot more doable than actually putting a whole complete replica tank on there. So once we've got that agreed, The engineer will do some drawings. We need to submit for both a resource and a building consent, and hopefully we'll be in a position towards the end of this financial year to get that work done, because it is getting a little bit desperate to be here in terms of the corroded steel work.
Thanks a million, Bruce.
Terrific. Hazel.
Hi, Bruce. Good to see you again. So just progress, please, on the removal of the grandstand off the Kihikihi domain and the water tower off the reserve. Where are those two projects up to, please? Because I believe that getting a consultant in now to come up with a plan for the Kihikihi domain. So it would be quite good if we've sorted all this out and people can actually look at how it's going to be without that grandstand there, please, if you wouldn't mind.
So in terms of the water tower, I can't talk to that because that's a project being managed by our community services team.
Right.
But in terms of the grandstand, we haven't made any progress on that. We've got it on the plan to take a look at in the new year in terms of the process that we need to go through to remove it. Unfortunately, we haven't made any real progress on that particular one, but it definitely is on the plan to start next year.
I just worry sometimes when I see kids running up and down it, and it's not exactly the safest place in the world. So please, if you would mind putting a bit of urgency into it.
Yep, sure, we can do that.
Thanks very much, Bruce.
Thank you.
Can I interrupt here? My understanding is that the site works are to commence February or March next year.
For the tower?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, thanks for that. Any further questions? No? Okay, thanks, Bruce, for your report and answering those questions so competently. That's awesome. And I have a recommendation on page 12. Do I have a mover, please? Hazel and Bruce, all in favour?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary, no. That is carried. And we'll move to item 7, the new community lease for the Cambridge Riding Club Incorporated. And I believe, Carol, I saw you.
Kia ora
somewhere.
koutou.
Hi. Welcome.
Hi.
It's all yours.
Thank you. I take the report as read, but just to summarise a couple of the key points, the club's lease has expired. They are well established at their current location and have been there for approximately 30 years. They've invested in their facilities on site and would like to enter into a new community lease with council, which is what we are proposing.
Great, thanks very much. It seems reasonably straightforward to me. Does any of the Cambridge
Happy to move,
councillors-
Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, Graham. And a
Very,
seconder.
very popular there, and they're doing a great job. Thanks, Carol.
Great. Thanks, Roger, for your seconding. And without any further ado, I'll put all A, B, and C. All in favour?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary, no. That is carried. So item 8, a resolution to exclude the public. Could I have a mover, please? Thanks, Claire.
I'll second.
Thanks, Mike. All in favour?